Once, there was a boy named Liam who tried his best in everything, but no matter how hard he studied, he just couldn't seem to understand. His grades were poor, his confidence was fading, and every night he stared at his books with a heavy sigh. One rainy afternoon, Liam sat alone on the school steps, staring at his test paper covered in red marks. A kind voice broke the silence. "Looks like you're fighting a storm inside," said Professor Alder, the old philosophy teacher, with a gentle smile. "I study so much, but nothing stays in my head," Liam said, his voice trembling. "It's like my mind's full of fog." Professor Alder nodded. "Then let me show you 5 small lessons. So simple, yet powerful enough to change how you learn, and maybe how you live." The first thing the professor did was take out a glass of water. He added a handful of soil and stirred it. The clear water turned muddy and thick. "This," said the professor, "is your mind when it's full of worry and noise." He set the glass down on the table. "Now wait." A few moments passed in silence. Slowly, the dirt settled to the bottom and the water became clear again. "When the mind is still," he said softly, "you can finally see what's truly there. Learning begins not with effort, but with calm." Liam took a deep breath. For the first time, he felt peace instead of panic. The next evening, the professor lit a small candle and placed it before Liam. The wind outside blew against the window. "Your task," said the professor, "is to keep this flame alive, only with your hands." Liam cupped his hands around the candle. The flame wavered but held. The wind grew stronger. His hands trembled and puff! The flame went out. Professor Alder relit it and smiled. "When you let your thoughts wander like the wind, your focus dies just the same. But when you give all your attention to one small light in front of you, no storm can blow it away." Liam stared at the candle's glow and understood. To protect his flame, he must learn to focus. The following morning, the professor handed Liam 2 objects, a stone and a sponge. "Pour some water over both," he said. The water slid right off the stone, but the sponge soaked it up completely. "Some students memorize without understanding," said the professor. "They are like stones, everything runs off. But those who try to understand, to feel what they learn, they are like sponges. They keep what touches them." Liam smiled faintly. He decided he wouldn't just remember facts anymore. He would absorb them. One afternoon, Professor Alder placed a huge loaf of bread on the table. "Eat it," he said. Liam laughed. "I can't, it's too big." "Then break it apart." Piece by piece, bite by bite, Liam finished the loaf. "See?" the professor said. "Everything seems impossible until you break it into smaller parts. Lessons, goals, fears, they all shrink when you divide them." That day, Liam stopped trying to learn everything at once. He began taking small, steady steps. Finally, the professor handed Liam a small seed. "Plant it," he said. "Water it daily, but don't expect it to sprout right away." Liam did as he was told. Days passed, nothing. A week later, still nothing. But on the 14th day, a tiny green sprout pushed through the soil. Liam ran to the professor, eyes bright with joy. "That," said Professor Alder, "is the miracle of patience. Every time you watered the seed, it was growing quietly underground. Knowledge grows the same way. It blossoms only in those who keep going, even when they see nothing yet." Years later, Liam stood by the same window, rain falling outside. He had grown into a calm, confident young man. The books that once terrified him now filled him with curiosity. He whispered to himself, remembering the professor's words. "Everything great begins with something small." And from that day forward, whenever Liam faced a challenge, he thought of muddy water, a trembling candle, a sponge, a loaf of bread, and a single seed. And he smiled.
If this story touched your heart, remember, great change begins with a small step. Subscribe to Tiny Power Tales and IPA English Story for more inspiring stories that light up your mind and calm your